This is the story of someone who likes trying way too many different things. But it's also the story of him trying to get kind of okay at them. Welcome to A La Plancha. Do you ever think about what's in a name? Like, I know personally, if I think of the name Lindsey, well, I immediately think of my girlfriend. If I think of her middle name, Tatiana, well, I also think of her, but I sort of also, in the back of my brain, think of like a 90s Latin superstar that would make music for little children. And then if I think of like maybe the name Eddie, perhaps, most people, I think the first thing that comes to mind, at least for like music and stuff, they tend to think of, you know, Eddie Van Halen. Rest in peace, I forgot. Eddie passed recently. Most people tend to think of Mr. Van Halen himself. Me personally, I think of my friend Eddie from a local band called the OK Shack, which I'll put in this spot right here. Ta-da! And so on and so forth. I'm sure, like, if you think of specific names, there's always, you know, someone in your life or someone that maybe you look up to or you've just recognized. And then sometimes it's not even people. Sometimes hearing the name of a specific gear that I've used in the past will bring back memories and associations from times previous. And sometimes hearing the name of a brand new piece of gear can lead to just excitement and just exploring this new mysterious past that you've never gone before. I know for me, the first proper guitar pedal that I bought years ago was this Mr. Black Deluxe Reverb. Trying to get it to focus on the camera there. It is beat up to heck, probably because I've had it for a couple years now, and it was the only pedal I would ever bring to shows. I didn't even have an amp back then. I would borrow my drummers. It was pretty cool because I just think of all like the shows and stuff that I've played. My pedal board literally was only one for years, and I just have memories of having to, you know, time the cool effects and just all that sweet, sweet tone you get from these pedals. But I think for this week I wanted to go to something a little bit weirder. This is a Boss Tera-Echo that I picked up recently. When I think of the name Tera-Echo, my mind immediately starts thinking about like, whoa, some kind of crazy space exploration odyssey is about to happen.
That's not, we're not going anywhere.
Now the Tera-Echo is something that I describe as kind of like a laser delay, and it's not even really a delay, it just kind of behaves like one if you mess around with the parameters. According to Boss's own website, it uses multi-dimensional processing, which to me is corporate speak for we're not gonna tell you about how this works. This is another beast. It's kind of like, yep, I see those are resistors and some soldering, all right. Now this pedal is actually like the 100th Boss pedal that they've ever developed in this compact format. So much so that there's even a commemorative watch that you can buy on eBay, which is tricked me a handful of times when I thought I was getting a cool deal on a pedal, and it turns out it's just a thing you slap on your wrist. When I thought about what I wanted to make this week, sometimes when I'm running low on inspiration, I tend to think, well, maybe something really unconventional will do it. You know, instead of sitting down like Elton John at the piano, maybe this week I'll try to start somewhere weird and then see if we can get some structure from there. I feel like it's a lot more flexible than people give it credit for, so I kind of wanted to hype this little bad boy up. Enough dilly-dallying. I'm sure you want to see what Mr. Space Pedal does, so here's how the week went. Nighttime Victor here. As you can tell, by the fact that I've changed my hat into a much more comfortable hat. I just finished tracking everything today. I might do some synthesizers maybe in the morning, but if not, I think I can get it done once I just kind of figure out how to pace myself with making the videos and also doing the music at the same time. It's not always that I'll have like the idea of what I was writing about in mind, you know, when I talk, but I figure because I still have these freshly written down and I remember what was going through my mind, why not explain them what's going on here. So this is a song about a little astronaut guy. Basically, this little astronaut, it's the idea is that it kind of takes place in like a little space station above the Earth, and it's sort of about like isolation, and I wanted it to be this sort of weird vehicle, not really analogy, but something that's supposed to represent like the average person, you know, feeling isolated. And it's sort of similar where it's like an astronaut, for example, goes through rigorous training to be able to handle periods of isolation up in space. And then I wanted to like compare the idea of being an astronaut up there to maybe someone who during this pandemic has been sort of trapped inside with very little to no contact. That's why even though it's a song about loneliness, you see names like Colin, Huey, which are references to, there's like a space station named Collins. There's an astronaut too, but that was just a pure coincidence. And then Huey's, you know, Houston, we have a problem. That's why the lyric says, Huey, we have a problem. And it's just like taking place from the perspective of someone who's feeling lonely up in a space station, someone trying to cope with the idea of being up in a space station stuck. And I'm the kind of person that's once I think of what the song is going to be about, I like using words that are very descriptive in all five senses. Once I figure out the theme / whatever the song is about, any little type of, you know, flavor text that can add to that is always a lot of fun to me. So using words like feeling overweight, you know, despite tossing and turning, you know, because there's no gravity in space, but doesn't stop you from feeling heavy. Heart's feeling frozen, the suit can't control it. Space is cold, dog. But I wanted this to be done over and quick, so I figured, hey, let's explain some lyrics real quick late at night. But anyways, tomorrow is mixing day and it's editing day, so we're gonna hopefully have this all done in one shot by tomorrow, and let's see how it goes. Hello, Muscle Beach here. Just kidding, I'm not very buff yet. Anyways, if you're wondering why I'm here holding my guitar and I have this nice headphone puka shell necklace going on, it's because I've been recording for the past 2 days. I started off this week thinking, man, how can I use this Tera-Echo pedal in a cool way that doesn't really stray too far from, like, you know, that naming convention that I was thinking of earlier. Because when you think of the name Tera-Echo, it's very, you know, we just landed on Mars and we're just now getting the video and audio transmission back from such a long voyage. At first I was just coming up with these like galaxy synthesizer type of melodies. It works very well on synthesizers, and if you're the type of person that thinks that you can't, you know, mix and match all of your equipment so that all of your instruments and different effects, even though it doesn't say, you know, synth pedal, put things together and see what happens. But specifically the Tera-Echo sounds very, very good on a synthesizer, and I was coming up with some cool stuff. I think desolate, I was trying to come up with something that sounds like sort of desolate and alien, stranded type of feeling. Especially on my Reface DX, I came up with some cool, sort of mysterious traveler type of music, and then some kind of more weirder stuff as well. Usually when I think terrestrial or something strange like that, my mind immediately goes to like sci-fi soundtracks and stuff like that, which is cool, but I think it would have been a little bit too much in my, not really comfort zone, but maybe a little bit too much in just easy territory, maybe let's call it. So while those were cool, I sat down and I thought to myself, okay, I kind of want to make something that's like, it has that feeling of like desolate and, you know, stranded on a faraway planet, but I wanted to make something kind of beautiful too, because I think a lot of people, at least to me, I think that the Tera-Echo is a very underrated effect and pedal because it's just so out there and weird. So I wanted to create something you wouldn't expect from that type of effect. I think usually you hear these like really crazy out there effects and you're like, oh man, I better make something kind of experimental and really out there, but that's not always the case. And it took me personally a real long time to learn how to work with subtlety. That in itself was kind of a bigger challenge, to incorporate this kind of effect, you know, make it present, but at the same time it's kind of like, whoa, you know, I never expected it, which is really weird to say out loud because it's kind of like, oh, you took this crazy effect and made it subdued. Doesn't that ruin the point? Sort of, but I mean, if it sounds good, it sounds good. And in my opinion, that in itself was a bigger challenge than try to make something that's kind of weird and out there. So I actually ended up making like this quick, I felt stuck for a couple of days on trying to come up with like just a cool little progression, or, you know, something that I could attach lyrics to. And so I actually found myself at the park, my local park, not really local, I go to the wealthy neighborhoods to go to their park. It's just, well, they have a creek at the rich park, so I like to go there. But anyways, I ended up at the park just walking around with my guitar right before sunset, so it was pretty decently desolate at the park. There wasn't really too many people around, and I just kind of walked around, played to the sound of you know, crickets chirping, the stream flowing. There was algae in the river, which was very moving to see, which I know sounds kind of pathetic, you know, like, oh, you were inspired by algae, bro? What are you, a fish? And combined with all the spaciness of the effects combined together, I kind of had it in my heart to say, like, write something that's something that I can only describe as like a space folk. So I try to write with that in mind and just have something that's kind of like, you know, very atmospheric and sort of out there effects wise, but at its core it's very melodic and simple. Complains, why should I